Hi everybody. The month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and a large group of us got together today, May 8th, to do an Instagram hop to increase awareness and end the stigma on mental illness. One of the things that I'm going to do with you today to end the stigma and increase awareness is share my story. And I think a few people, hopefully a lot of people, are going to come forward and do the same. I know it's scary to share your story because of the risk of being judged or criticized, but if we don't come together and speak up and speak out and advocate for one another, we're never going to break through the barriers and the obstacles. So my story began years ago when I was married to a man who was an alcoholic, and my kids, I have two of them, a boy and a girl, they were both verbally abused, so they suffered a great deal. I was too, but my concern was more with them. And then with my daughter at about the age of 14, it was like a switch turned on in her, and she started to develop symptoms of a mental health condition, which ended up in years of psychiatric help, tons of medication. There were times when she was so medicated, she couldn't drive, she couldn't keep her eyes open. She had trouble functioning because of the strong medication that she was on. And it led to several years of her struggling with her mental health condition that was probably triggered by a trauma that she experienced at the age of 11. And I say that because mental illness can lie dormant in you like a cancer cell, and a traumatic event can bring it to life. And I think that's what happened with my daughter. At the time that she was having this mental health crisis, she struggled in school. She struggled with friends. She had no friends. I was her friend. And she struggled with black rage, as she liked to call it. There were so many things that she experienced that even she didn't understand. And as a mother, I didn't understand what part of this was teenage behavior, what part of this was just my daughter, her personality, and what part of this was the result of her mental illness. There were very few resources that were out there to help us, and what resources there were huge waiting lists. So every time we would seek help, it would always end up being pushed back onto the family. And I always felt guilty. I felt responsible. And I felt, of course, liable. She was a teenager. But what I didn't realize at the time was I'm not a professional. I don't know how to deal with a mental health condition. I know how to deal with my daughter, but I don't know how to deal with this monster that was occurring in our house. And a lot of the mental health professionals didn't know what to do either. We had a lot of bad experiences, and there was a great deal of shaming that went on and finger pointing at me. Their father was in prison at the time, so he wasn't even around. And that didn't help things at all. So eventually it got to a point where it broke the family apart. Our family was strained and broken, and we didn't know what to do, because we would bring her to the hospital, but upon her release from the hospital, it was as if they were just saying, okay, here you go. You're done now, you're okay. And that is not the case, because mental illness is no different than having a chronic illness that needs to be managed on a regular basis. It's not just go to the hospital, get it treated, and bada bing, you're fine. What seemed to be happening consistently was she would be good in the hospital, and then they would just drop the ball when she was released, and they never taught her the skills she needed to be able to live her life. And that was where there was a huge gap in transitioning her from crisis to being a functional, productive part of society. And at the time, I was doing the best I could, but I didn't realize what we needed to do to get her from that point of crisis to being a productive, competent member of society. It wasn't until we came across NAMI. NAMI stands for National Alliance on Mental Illness. They are a grassroots organization that was founded in the 1990s, and they advocate, educate, and support individuals with mental illness and their loved ones. It wasn't until I came across an active NAMI affiliate that we started to see change. When I did come across them, the first thing that I found was support. I found other people who were going through exactly what we were going through. Their feelings were the same, their experiences were the same, their struggles were the same, and I felt validated. I did not feel like I was doing something wrong anymore because other people were going through the same thing I was going through. And also, we would brainstorm and I would find out more resources that would help. And then my husband and I, my husband now, who I've been with for the past 12 years, he and I went to a 12-week educational class called Family to Family, and that class actually taught us how to put ourselves in our daughter's shoes and try to understand and empathize with what she must be going through and how she's trying to live life and be productive member of society with a mental health condition and deal with the stigma that's out there. And it was a turning point for us when we took these classes, because I felt like I was able to communicate more effectively with my daughter. And I think that she appreciated the fact that I took the time to learn about what was going on with her. But we had a lot of issues within the family and friends. I have family members that I don't talk to anymore because of the stigma. They did not understand what my daughter was going through, and they didn't take the time to understand what she was going through. And as a result, we had to break the relationship because it wasn't healthy for us and it wasn't healthy for my daughter. But going to NAMI, going to the support groups, and building some confidence really helped me to understand what I needed to do to support my daughter. And eventually I started to work for NAMI. I got a job with NAMI as a program coordinator, and I learned to facilitate those meetings, and that helped my healing even more because I felt like I was actually doing something to help other families so that they didn't go through what I went through with my daughter, which is a very helpless feeling. And now I work for an organization that is a funding alliance, and we coordinate funding to 15 local agencies that provide services to individuals with mental health condition and substance abuse. And the way that God has led me from my experience to where I am now is nothing short of a miracle. So I am a miracle, and I am, I hope, a beacon of hope for other people, that if we could get through this, anybody can. There's no magic fix it. There's no magical answer. It is a lifestyle, a lifetime of work and effort and ups and downs, but it can work. It really can work. And my relationship with my daughter is healthier than it's ever been. The arguments that we used to have where we had major blowouts, and boy, we had some blowouts, are gone. We do have, typical conflict, but it's nothing like it used to be because now we know when to walk away. We have healthy coping skills now. I have went to counseling. My husband's gone to counseling. My son is beginning to understand what's going on more, and he is more effective at supporting us and supporting our daughter. And it's just been an amazing experience. So for those of you that are going through something really difficult, or if what I'm saying is something that you can relate to, I'm here for you. I'm always available to talk. I'm always available to help you find resources. I've gotten pretty good at that. But you're not alone. And thus, all the graphics that we've been sharing this week that came from NAMI, you are not alone. None of us are alone. But we have to start talking about this, and we have to start advocating. We have to take the time to educate. There's a ton of resources on the NAMI website, which I will list their website in the description box of my YouTube channel here. Please go there and learn all you can about mental illness, what the individual goes through, what the family goes through, and then try your best to support. I really appreciate you letting me take the time to share my story. This is a very abbreviated version. I could go on forever, but you would be bored after a while. But I feel like my heart is so full that we have been able to do this Instagram hop and talk about mental illness. I never thought the day would come when we could do this, and yet here we are doing it. And it's so important. So if you feel comfortable talking and sharing your story, please do that. You can share it on Instagram. Use the hashtag #NotAlone, please, so we can find your story. You could do a YouTube video. You can go on your blog and do it, or you can just DM me, and I'm always going to be there to hear you. I hope that you can find some of the other stories. If you go onto Instagram or YouTube and you type in the hashtag #NotAlone, you will find all the stories in there. And I hope they inspire you, and I hope they move you to advocate, educate, and support individuals with a mental health condition and their loved ones. God bless you, and thank you for coming to visit me today.